There's something about the words you say. I hear them when you're not around. And there's something about that look in your eyes and your voice's sound. Well, we can leave this town, pretend that that's the problem, and we can live without, or we can live without. And then you tell me someday it's alright with me. I'm always the last one to notice. Yeah.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You are listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans. So belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports talk and a whole lot more. Tonight's show is brought to you by SeatGeek and SeatGeek.com. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. And remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their other great podcasts, such as Craft Brewed Sports and the Corner Booth podcast. And and check up on everything else at bellyupsports.com. Dave, it's been a week since we got together. I was driving by your house last night about 8:30. I was my game got rained out, so I went over to Pop's Pub South to get the better half, and I saw you shovel in hand at the stoplight there. I looked over, the light changed. You had shovel in hand. You looked like you had 2 really good supervisors helping you out who were not getting their hands dirty at the time I saw. I don't know what happened after I drove away, but when I was driving by, you were the men at work, the man at work, and the other 2 you had some pretty good foreman on the job.
That's not entirely true, because you must have been there for the 5 seconds Jasper was outside, because he fucked off immediately.
I saw he was standing on your deck and he was leaning over the ledge there, and then that's when I drove by right then.
I don't know. Yeah, where exactly? We were doing some transplanting in the front. We like the front to look nice, and we had come across some hostas, and we were planting hostas. When I say we, I mean Kenny and I. Jasper was like, "Do you need me here? Do you want to help?" Not really. Beat it. And that was kind of thing, because it was only a 2-person job. The wife points, I dig, she plants, and then that's kind of how it works.
It must have been the perfect time, because like I said, I saw Jasper leaning over the rail, and he was pointing at something, and then and I drove away, and so that was it. So it was quite funny. So maybe he was downstairs watching the Major League Baseball All-Star game, All-Star weekend. I thought it was a great. I didn't get to watch the home run competition. I watched the highlights and everything else, and bits and pieces here and there. Since it happened on Monday night. But the All-Star game to me last night was a fantastic game. 3-2 win for the National League. Drama right at the bitter end. The crowd was in it, the young talent. What's your thoughts on the All-Star weekend or All-Star week? What was your thoughts so far?
I had stuff to do during the majority of the game, so I only did watch Jasper. Jasper watched the majority of the game. I only watched about the last inning and a half. So I did see the National League come back. It was an exciting game. The crowd was into it. And, aside from those awful jerseys, I thought it was a really good display for both leagues in the All-Star game this year.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dave, because that was the one thing that, there was 2 things that bothered me about the All-Star game, last night. One was the jerseys, because I think they should go back to wearing your team jerseys, who you play for, your helmets, the hats, the whole bit. The hats are a subversion of what they normally wear, but I think the both teams should wear the away jerseys of their respective teams and everything else, and on it goes. Because like the Colorado Rockies, I can't remember the name of the guy's name who got the MVP last night. That should be a moment in Rockies history where they could put it up at Coors Field, but he's wearing some no-name jersey basically that looks like it got made for a Walmart rack, and then some second-rate hat. I think that's one thing that gets really blown with Major League Baseball. I understand why they do it to sell more jerseys, but I don't think they are. But the other thing that Major League Baseball pissed me off yesterday in the Fox network is having A-Rod talk at all. That guy's got to fuck off.
He's awful. Like and we've talked about him, and I don't want to give him too much time here. But good God, like who did he blow? Why does he have to be on all these big? Why do they want him? Why do they want him?
I don't understand. No one likes the guy. The one thing that I thought about last night when he was on TV talking, he was eating popcorn, sunglasses on, and blah blah. The whole Jeter was really, and yes, I'm a Jeter apologist, absolutely, but Jeter was really good on the broadcast, like throughout the game, quick, to the point, said what he had to say, and sounded good. A-Rod seems too polished. He's always, everything's rehearsed. He wants the questions prior to. He knows exactly what to say and how to say it. And that stupid grin he has in his face the entire time. I can't stand the guy. But yeah, that's my only two gripes about the All-Star game last night. But other than that, I thought the game was great. I thought that the excitement level was high enough. I thought the intensity level was just high enough. Yes, it was an exhibition, but both teams were competing hard and wanted to win.
Yeah, and then the crowd was into it too, right? You know, and it helps that who's the Mariner kid that was in that game? He was
Julio Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, yeah, and it's nice to have a meaningful player in the game, and they were clearly rooting for him. And I was reading on the Twitter machine today that they were who are they there when Ohtani was up to bat? They were like chanting, "Come to Seattle."
I don't know how the crowd. Yeah, and
that's fun.
I think it's great, and I think they're less of a dark horse in the Ohtani race than people actually want to believe. And we talked about it last week when we had the intern on, Andrew, there, and we that I think that Ohtani is going to end up in Seattle. That's Ichiro Suzuki intake, everything else. I think it's going to have a huge take on that. And then last night with the crowd chanting Ohtani's name, that can't hurt at all. Like I thought it was pretty neat. I thought it was great.
No, like that's, you know, it's nice to know you're wanted, and obviously every franchise of 32 wants him there. But to have an opportunity for the fans to do this for you on a nationally broadcast game, that has to feel pretty good. And I don't know if you had a moment to watch that Pedro Martinez talking about Ohtani with Rich Eisen today. And
I didn't know.
But like Pedro is like, you know, I just simply can't see Ohtani finishing the year in Anaheim. He's not going to stay in Anaheim because he wants to win. He's too classy of a guy to fuck anyone over. But he gets to pick where he goes, and I can see him being dealt. And Pedro was just of the highest. I've never heard Pedro Martinez speak so highly of anybody
other than himself. Right?
And he was like, you know, whatever decision he makes, it's going to be the right one, because he's made the right decision ever since he's 14 years old in the ball field.
The going take on the reason why he hasn't been traded so far is that the Artie Moreno, the owner of the Angels, has basically said he doesn't want to be the guy to trade the greatest baseball player ever. He doesn't want to be the franchise that trades that guy. And so but you're not making your team any better by keeping him and holding on. You could make your team better for 5 to 10 years by trading for draft picks, prospects, on and on and on. You're making your team worse right now by holding on to a guy who ain't coming back next year.
Oh no, you're going to get a king's ransom.
You have to trade him. You have to trade him.
You know, it's like, I'm not saying anything anybody doesn't know. It's trading two players. It's trading a power hitter. Yep. And a pitcher, right? And top 10 in both. Yep. So you can get a king's ransom before the trade deadline. Oh, you can get a lot. Like you would never get more
They
for a trade
have to.
deadline.
They have to trade him,
They have to trade him.
and then get him
And
back, and then get him back.
yeah, and if that's your intention and you're going to make a winner around him and Trout, then do it. But at the worst case scenario, I know you like to lift your leg on the Trout tree there every now and then. So
Not the Trump one. Well, that
the,
one too.
but
I piss on that
said
one
Trout,
too, actually.
yeah.
So whatever. But yeah,
But
we trying to get politically hit 1420 World Headquarters. But yeah,
and then even you can build that team and then give Trout maybe a puncher's chance to play on a decent team next year.
trade them both.
Trade them both, but Trout has whatever 4 or 5 years. Like Ohtani's the free agent. You
Trade
get
them
a
both.
Kings. You could get a Kings ransom for him and then sign him back, and then
Yeah.
now you got Trout and Ohtani, and then all the pieces that you just traded Ohtani for.
The big news yesterday that was coming out of not just the game, obviously, but whenever there's an all-star game, the talking heads seem the need to talk and be televised. Rob Manfred, he came out, and then Tony Clark, the head of the MLB Players Association, he had a need to. Well, you get asked questions, you got to answer them, I guess. But they both had their thoughts on what should happen come playoff time with the pitch clock. And Tony Clark said, we weren't really given a chance to speak about this when they instituted the rule. We weren't really given a vote on how this all came about, which I get because you're just you're just employees of the league. But then Manfred and he said that maybe we should ease the rules come playoff time or come down the stretch. Something should happen. And Manfred said, "Well, no, we're going to probably keep things the way they are," because he said we shouldn't play a different set of rules come playoff time that as opposed to the regular season. What's your thoughts on that, Dave?
You can say all you want, but playoffs is different in any sport. Like the rules are a little bit different. They're the same rules, but they get enforced a little bit different. And we there's that fine line, and that we always NHL is the one when we come to Stanley Cup playoffs. A penalty in game 25 is not a penalty in game 4 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Mm-hmm. And when it is, we freak out. Right?
Lose our minds.
Yeah, it's just like, how can you call that in the third period? And we're right. We're asking a lot of the officials, but we always want the games to be decided on the field. If a pitcher in a big moment needs 30 seconds as opposed to 25, like even if it's a third inning, runners on the corners with one out, and the pitcher needs to regroup, let him regroup, man.
Well, that's what Clark was saying. It was like 3 or 4 seconds ain't going to turn this into a 4-hour game. Right. He said it's not. And I agree with him 100% because like we talked about it like before the season started that baseball is a game of moments, right? And you don't want to rush these things and you don't want to get into these things. And Manfred, of course, he shouldn't be allowed to speak because he's just not good at it. And how he's had that job for a long time and how he goes, this is it. This is how we do things. We're not changing it. We'll just say, you know what? I understand. We'll take a look at it. That's all he had to say. All he had to say was, we will take a look at it and say, you know what, we understand. We understand baseball is a feeling, the moments. We don't want to lose those moments, but we'll take a look at it. We're not making decisions on July the 11th, 2023 right now.
As opposed to just, nope.
No, we're not doing it.
This is the way we're doing it.
Yeah. It's just because we talked a little bit off air. Like I think baseball's in a really good spot right now. There's a lot of really good young talent. Like we forget, like up in Canada here, we've been watching the Bo Bichette show and the Vladdy Jr. show for 4 years now. It's you automatically assume they're 30. They're under the age of 25. There's a lot of great players under the age of 25. The game's exciting. There's more people watching right now. More people going to games around baseball. David, is this are we getting to a new golden era of baseball right now, or am I just being baseball dork that I usually am?
Yeah, no, like all the numbers agree with exactly what you're seeing. The attendance is up, the ratings are up, and there's more young, exciting players coming up than ever before, and it makes me wonder what the reason for that is. Like, is scouting better? Is just coaching better? Is all this analytics bullshit better? Or like, I don't know, because, that was a 3-2 game and only 2 home runs. maybe, and then you got players like, who's that fast motherfucker from Cincinnati, De La Cruz.
De La Cruz has stole 3 bases on 2 pitches on Saturday or Sunday. Yeah.
Like yeah, that's
it's
something
Milwaukee.
else.
Yeah.
No, yeah, against Milwaukee. He's with the Reds, and his brother plays for the Brewers, I believe. Oh, Pittsburgh. Okay, but nonetheless, players like that, that's exciting to watch. Those are highlights you want to watch. And the other thing too, I watched the home run derby for the first time, and I don't even know when, with Jasper on Monday night. That was a little bit more exciting than I thought it was.
I like the change they did about 3-4 years ago when they went to time clock. It could have been longer. I don't remember. I don't know. The last one I watched of any substance was the 2008 one. The last time they had it at the old Yankee Stadium there with Josh Hamilton when he was sitting in the stands bar across the street. But the home run derby kind of lost its luster because it was boring. But now with the time clock and everything else,
because the last time
and the extra balls you get, the bonus for everything else, and you had that Rushman kid from Baltimore hitting from both sides of the plate, hitting home runs. That's awesome.
Highlight.
It was awesome.
That was my highlight of the thing. Like, aside from a Rosarena just going off, like what he hit 8 in a row in about 5 seconds. Like, God, that guy, he cocks that gun really quick. And because the last time I watched the home run derby, they weren't allowed to swing until the ball actually hit the ground. But this way, and I don't know when they changed.
Yeah,
there
isn't a certain rule that's involved there still, but it's not like it was. The ball had to land, cock it, and everything else. No, I think baseball's in a really good spot, and people it's not even boring anymore. Like I find baseball's a thinking man's game to me. I love it. But there are times where it can be boring, but I don't even find baseball that boring anymore.
No, it's better. And then maybe, I don't know how much credit we have to give to that 20-second clock, because maybe that's why we're seeing a lot more. It seems like we're seeing a lot more stolen bases now as well. And action on the base pass, because a guy can only check to first. And so I don't even know how many fundamentals are being taught to these pitchers, because they're not even checking the runner, let alone throwing to first. I get it, you're only allowed to do it twice, but nonetheless, it seems that it's this quicker pitching and hitting. Like, you got to get in the box and take your hacks. It's allowing for more of the way the game was meant to be played, as opposed to fucking around, adjusting your jock, looking for the signals.
The Nomar Garcia-Parra wristbands and gloves and
Christ, Hail Mary and two mother.
Like, the thing about what's funny, like, I don't know, people like who listen to the show and podcast, whatever, but it's funny how everybody thought that was so cool back then. Like, oh, look what he's doing, and then you look back and go, what a fucking idiot.
Well, yeah, because he was such
like,
a
it was
player.
So cool. Like, he's so dialed in. He has everything just right. And he's like, oh, this is neat. And now you look back like, what a fucking moron.
Because he, so many kids liked it, and they started imitating him, but they couldn't do it the exact same way. So they had their routine. And now everybody has to go through a 15-second glove adjustment, belt tightening routine. Like, no, get in there and take your hacks.
Get in the box.
Get in the box. Like, this game isn't decided by how you're looking when you're taking your swings.
I had a kid. I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I don't give a fuck. Whatever. There was a kid. I can't remember what team it was. Actually, it doesn't much matter. But he went out of the box. He swung and missed. Got out of the box. Whatever. And he was adjusting his gloves. And I said, "Would you get in the fucking box?" And he goes, "There's no time clock here. There's no clock." And the catcher for the other team goes, "Yeah, but we all want to go to the bar. Let's get the fuck out of here, man." Like Jesus. They said, "There's nobody here. Like, fuck me, man. Like, let's go."
You've done it a million times. So just get in there. If you need a sec, take a sec. But don't drag your ass.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Are the stars better? Like, is there enough? Social media and everything has a lot to do with it, and the advertising has a lot to do with it compared to what it was 20, 30, 10, 20, 30 years ago. You want to keep going back, but the way these guys can market themselves, the way it happens is they're on TV a lot more and everything else, if you can find it. But are they better players? Like, yes, they're bigger, faster, stronger in their nutrition, but are they better players than they were 30 years ago, Dave?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And the reason I say that, it was when Jasper and I were sitting in front of the TV waiting for the home run derby to start on Sports Center, whatever. It had the 100 greatest defensive plays so far this year, and we tuned in around 62 or something like that. Yeah. And these plays were pretty slick, like defensively and everything. And they were awesome. It was things that I would never be able to do, but like, it's nothing I hadn't seen before. If baseball's been played, there's been 10 million
150 years,
played.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to see it all before, and I don't know what else you can do. I'm not going to say it's better or worse, and maybe there's a couple more kids that can do things. Where back in the day in our generation, there was maybe 2 or 3 guys in the league that could do that kind of play. Like, especially I'm talking infield plays, which are my favorites. And then now maybe there's 4 or 5 guys in the league that have the range.
Let's go back to 3 guys that have been brought up already tonight. Back in the mid 1990s, late 1990s, you had 3 shortstops who were considered the best in baseball. You had Jeter, Garciaparra, and A-Rod. Right, they were they were everything. They were on Sports Illustrated out there without tarps on the whole bit. Bad look, I thought back then. But anyways,
what do you do?
whoever their marketing guys were probably blew it on that one. But those were 3 of the best to play the game at that point. And then you go back even further, like Tony Fernandez was a great shortstop in Jay's days back when we used to watch that stuff. But there aren't many guys. If you put the training regimen and nutrition and everything else, I can't see 3 guys being better than those 3 guys back in the 90s. You know what I'm getting at? Like,
I do hear you.
And those guys could hit a little bit too, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just I don't know. I don't know. You can't get a whole bunch better,
right?
And they're Hall of Fame guys, obviously, but like it's tough. It's tough.
I mean, you think of someone of players like so like you said, Fernandez, and then we had Robbie Alomar, obviously at second base. Ozzie Smith. Those guys were taking these bounces off AstroTurf, right? So that ball's coming at him a little hotter. Yeah, that's coming in really hot, and they're making these plays. And like, who knows? Like, but those guys.
So they were probably better, really, when it comes down to it.
I would think, like Robbie Alomar could be the best defensive second baseman I've ever seen.
I don't know what happened. Whatever happened with the Jays and him, and the on and on it goes, and it's unfortunate for whatever happened to the victims, but it's unfortunate that his legacy won't be
he can't be honored as properly.
It won't be shown around baseball, because man, that cat could play baseball. I think he's the greatest Blue Jay ever.
He has to be in the conversation. Like, it's him and Dave Steve and maybe Doc Holliday, but Doc didn't win, so you kind of got to put him off. And
but Alomar has those moments, right? The chop and the thing and then the home run of Eckersley in '92, and on it goes. Like, I would say that, man, Alomar's the greatest Jay ever. It's just too bad it's turned out the way it has. And not for him. Like, if he's a fuckhead, he's a fuckhead. I don't give a guy a pat in the back for being a fuckhead, but his baseball resume in that town is second to none to me.
His body of work is unrivaled. Like, with his clutch hitting and his remarkable glove. He I don't know what his WAR was. We didn't talk about it back in the day.
$7 billion.
He was playing. $7 billion. That's a hell of a WAR.
It was really good. They won a lot of games back then.
It was almost like the old Saturday Night Live skit with Dicka. Yeah. Like Dicka versus Dicka. Alomar. The one with McCain punch. Remember that?
Yeah. No, you look at that, like we were kind of blessed around here. Like, you talk, like it's a slow part of the sports here right now, so we can always fill it with remember when stuff. But those Jays teams, man, back in the early 90s with Wamco, White, Henderson, Alomar, Molitor, Carter, Olerud, and on it went. And then you had Pat Borders, who was a good player, and Kelly Gruber at third, and like those teams were really, really good. Like, really good.
Yeah, Dave Winfield, like, and
Yeah, and
Devon
then
White, yeah,
they
like
just added a guy in here and added a guy in here, and their pitching staff was always like they had David Cohn in their second World Series, and on it went.
because Devo in center field made shit look easy too.
That catch he made in the World Series against the wall and
Yeah,
doubled up. Should have been a triple play, actually. Unbelievable how good those teams were. Do you think that Jays team? Why don't they just go out and spend money? Why doesn't Rogers go out and just dump the load? Because they got billions of dollars.
well, I don't know. I do not know, but we've always said baseball's the hardest to really drop the bag on, right? Like, they do have their chance. Like these like Bichette and Vladdy are going to want some big cash right now, and then like I don't know if they have 1 or 2 years left. Like now is the time, and so I don't know what pitchers are available, but they got to make the move because you're not going to be able to afford everybody for 10 years. You're not the Yankees.
Go get Ohtani for the rest of the year.
Go get Ohtani, like for sure. Why not? And then maybe he loves Toronto. Like I don't know, and then he signs there, and then like you don't think everybody like they're gonna just merchandising alone? How are you not going to do that? But
he would be the biggest star in Canadian sports history since Wayne Gretzky if he were to play in Canada.
I can believe that. Like who is
that a bad take?
Well,
who's been a bigger star since Wayne Gretzky?
Connor McDavid's pretty huge. Donovan Bailey. I don't know who else. Silken Laman.
John Elway looking fucking motherfucking Rowan.
She got a lot of
John Elway.
Well, that's not her fault. It's
John Elway's fault, actually. I don't know.
He's older than her, but nonetheless. I don't know. Like I would guess it's Connor McDavid right now. And then Alphonso Davies has a chance if he continues on his trajectory because he's so young with the Canadian men's national team. But yeah, like it's Gretzky and everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah, if Ohtani was to sign in Canada, or get traded to the Jays, those jersey sales would rival anything that happened ever.
What about Vince Carter and Kawhi Leonard? But Kawhi was only 1 year. Vince Carter was huge forever, and he played forever. But I didn't care for his act. Yeah,
we should start something here, Dave. Get Ohtani to finish up his get traded to Toronto. I don't know how we'd.
Well, yeah, like us two punks in thing, but
every journey begins with a single step.
Ohtani is a J.
Ohtani is a J. Hashtag Ohtani as a J. Biggest Canadian athlete ever.
Yeah, well, yeah, performing like playing their craft, and I think he'd dig it. Right, Toronto's a pretty multicultural city.
Toronto's actually a pretty good town.
Yeah,
it actually is. I mean, I because Deanne's originally from Toronto. She lets me know where she's actually from. She was there till she was 5, so she's still from Toronto. But like, she's not from Toronto. She's from Medicine Hat, right? Like, fuck, it's just like, Jesus Christ, you're from the Hat for fuck's sakes. But she'll tell me she's from Toronto. But it's a pretty cool town. Like it's there's a lot going on there. Multicultural town. It's a pretty great town. Yeah.
No, I don't know where he went, especially for the year. I don't know what kind of bag the Jays still have left in the tank in their.
Get rid of it. Who cares?
Yeah, like let's take a rip.
I think every team. Let's go back to every team has to be putting something together right now on All-Star Wednesday when everything's getting going again. Tomorrow the games are going. Every GM right now, except for like the Rockies and the Royals and maybe the Cubs. And like some teams that have nothing, like every team that's on the brink right now of being a playoff team or being a World Series team, every team right now is putting together a package, sending it to Anaheim, saying, "Here's what we got." I guarantee every team has something going on right now. Every team.
The Yankees don't. He's not going to the Yankees. They're fucked.
Oh, yeah, they're terrible. They're actually terrible. They hired a podcast host as their new hitting coach. Fuck me.
The hitting coach. How did he not get fired 3 months ago? Right?
Oh.
Like, without Judge, like, what are they batting? Like a collective 210? Like, they're awful.
They might be they might be 210. Yeah, they got a lot of guys hitting under the Mendoza line. Yeah, they're terrible.
How are they even still like relevant in the? I guess Garrett Cole and Germán and their pitching staff's decent.
Not, but really.
Well, it's decent. Well, nonetheless, they're only one game out of the wild card, which is kind of remarkable for how bad they are.
They're not making the playoffs. No, they're not. Yeah, they're not in the playoff spot right now. They're not making the playoffs. They're not very good.
Oh, but you're probably excited because they got that sexy new logo. Get Cashman a couple more bucks for an insurance company.
Like the Steinbrenners need more money for an insurance company. Don't put the name of the jersey. Can't grow a beard, but fucking sell insurance. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports talking a whole lot more. This segment is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420 pod at SeatGeek.com today. It saves up $20 on Yankees tickets. They'll give them away at the fucking gate nowadays. Anyways.
Oh, for the days of having George Costanza as the assistant to the traveling secretary.
They've been better off with Costanza as the hitting coach.
They were winning trophies then.
Well, remember Costanza, teaching Bernie Williams and Jeter how to hit home runs. Now they got Sean Casey coming off a fucking podcast. Jesus fuck.
And Sean Casey, if I'm recalling, this is the Reds guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he hit like a $195 with 30
Do you remember the last time the Yankees hired a guy with no experience to be the manager? Yeah, it's still happening.
Yeah.
Some TV guy. Yeah. Let's still do this again. Fuck me. What a disgrace. Anyways.
Well,
1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 Beer Sports talking a whole lot more.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 Beer with Sports talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.